I'm Becky Mayer. Welcome to Transitions, Body, Mind, Spirit. Body, Mind, Spirit, transitions. Have you had many transitions in your life, changing from one thing to another to another? I like to use the metaphor of a triathlon, something that I do. And we have guests that are going to talk about triathlons. But it's an amazing thing. You're in a triathlon. First you get to the swim, then you get to the transition area, then you bicycle, then you get to a transition area again, and then you run. And so that's kind of a metaphor for what we do in our lives. So we have some very interesting women here today who are going to talk about what they have done in their lives, in their transitionary lives, to do triathlons. So welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I believe Deanna McCarthy, she has just been in the Ironman Chattanooga, which was just 2 weeks ago. And Belinda Leslie, of all the friends I have, she's been doing triathlons longer than anyone I know, 31 years, which is pretty amazing. I've been doing it 11 years. So I want people to understand what a triathlon is, and there's different lengths of triathlons. But Deanna, who just was in the Chattanooga Ironman, Deanna, talk to us a little bit about what an Ironman is and what the length is and how long it took you to train, and tell us about that.
It's a journey, that's for sure. It's an awesome journey. It's a long race, 140 miles, and it is challenging. I started out with a sprint, though. It all starts with those smaller races. Led then to the Olympics, and then half Ironman, and then made my first attempt at the Ironman. It's a journey.
So how long have you been doing triathlons, and what made you even decide to do that? And you have 4 adult children right now, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I think I got tired of just driving them to their swim practices and all their sporting goods, and decided sporting activities, and decided I was going to jump in there too. But I had seen my brother do a triathlon probably at least 30 years ago, and it kind of stuck in my head, and it was just exciting. And so I'd always wanted to do it, and finally a couple of people in my neighborhood, a couple other moms, and I got together, and we did our first sprint. So.
And tell us what a sprint is. What's that mean?
Oh, it's a fairly short race. It was about a 300 meter swim, and then I think it was about a 16-mile bike ride, and then a 5K run.
Okay, which is about 3 miles.
Yep.
Okay. And that was the beginning of your triathlon career.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, and I've piddled in it. I move slow, so I've done probably a couple races most summers in the last 10 years.
Okay. All right. Wow. And then Belinda, having started 31 years ago, is that correct?
Yep.
When you were just a pup.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
23, 24, yeah, right about there. Yeah,
Okay.
the year after my daughter was born. So that's when I started, 1984.
Wow. And then what brought you to triathlons? And that was way before all the publicity about triathlons.
Yeah.
I mean, you were ahead of your time.
Well, it was ignorance because my good friend, who was a yoga person that I knew from the spa I was working out in, and I had gained 65 pounds with my pregnancy, so I was over 200 pounds.
Wow.
And when I had her, she was an 8-pound baby, and 2 months after I had her, I'd lost 8 pounds. So it wasn't coming off, and I was breastfeeding, doing everything they said I should, but I'd never been a skinny person anyway. So I thought, well, I need to start working out, and I was first introduced actually to lifting weights, and so I started with weight training and got excited about it, started losing some weight with just the first time I'd ever been athletic. I mean, the most athletic thing I'd done until then in my life was be the drum major of the marching band and disco dance.
Wow,
so I'd
that's
never
pretty
done organized sports really at all. I was more like a lettered in speech in high school, so I was one of the nerds. And so I started working out at a gym, and this friend I made there said, my boyfriend is going to do this triathlon, and I want to do one. Do you want to train with me? it'll be in 8 weeks. And I thought, okay. I didn't know better. And so I just kind of did this plan in my own head about running, and I was an adequate swimmer. I'd grown up in the lakes in Tennessee. I'm from here, and felt comfortable swimming, and had just bought a bike, which I learned later was way too big and way too heavy, but I had a bike, and I thought I can learn to run. And, you know, I think about 8 weeks later, I did an Olympic-length triathlon.
Wow.
And so...
And you were 23?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was numb and tired and freaked out and surprised that, in fact, it never dawned on me I wouldn't finish. That just never entered my mind. I just knew I'd be slow, and I was. And then I thought, well, I'm here. I'll sign up for another one right away because I don't want to lose the amount of exercise I put in to get here.
Were you losing weight?
Yes, I was losing weight, and it's not a sport. It's a sport that will naturally create hunger. So it's challenging to truly train well for a triathlon and lose weight during the season at least. And so that is something as I've become more athletic, I still have to monitor because I can still gain weight. In fact, I have raced almost all of these years as what they call Athena.
What's that mean?
Well, when you race, there's pros, the professionals, then there's age groupers, which is most of the rest of us, and then there are the Clydesdale men and the women they call Athena. And that means up until the last couple of years that I admitted I weighed over 150 pounds and wanted to race in a group special for those women. Now they've recently changed the weight up to 165 pounds. So I can't race Athena any longer because I weigh 163 pounds. And so I still race and have gotten faster, and so that's, and there's a Facebook group that's for Athena triathletes, and it's a great supportive group that somebody else started, Leslie Battle started, and I've been a member of that now this year, and it's just wonderful to have normal working moms who choose to do a triathlon, and we talk to each other. It's great.
Wow, very interesting. Wow. Well, we know that you have been doing triathlons over 10 years, and last year there was the big hullabaloo about Chattanooga going to be the first Ironman in Tennessee, and you had to sign up, and it was like $700 to sign up. It was like a huge commitment a year in advance, and you decided to do that with your sons. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair. And how old are your sons?
They're, let me see, they're 21, 23, and 31.
Okay.
So it was awesome. I've kind of invited them into the sport, which, you know, they're the athletes, I'm not, but they have been very good about coming and joining me. Joe joined me first, the youngest, because I was training for a half Ironman with Team in Training.
That I did also.
Yes.
We were training together.
And I just couldn't leave him home alone that much. You know?
Golf
He was
coast.
18 and, or no, he was 16. He was in high school and I just didn't want to leave him all the time. So they made an exception and let Joe sign up with Team in Training at a younger age. And we raised money for Leukemia Society. So that's how he got in. And then I think his brothers didn't want to be left out of the sport. Chattanooga was just too good of an offer to miss. You know, I always wanted to do that Ironman. It was in the back of my head, and then to have one so close, and training with my boys was awesome. That was truly the best part.
Do you feel that really spurred you to really give it the gusto because your sons were going to be in it, and their mama was going to be in there?
I think they were proud of their old mama, just doing it and trying it. You know, they had their training wasn't as challenging athletically as mine. But,
well, if you don't mind, could you, because I think your story is very, very inspirational, to train for an Ironman, and your age is what?
58.
58.
Yep, not getting any younger, so I thought this is the time. I better get started if I'm going to do it.
Okay. And then tell us about your training regimen and who helped you in this, and when did you actually start your training for the Ironman, which was just 2 weeks ago?
I feel like I started training about 10 years ago. And I actually remember announcing it at a staff meeting that I was training for an Ironman about 5 years ago, which way before I signed up. So in my head, I was preparing and physically on and off training. But actually, specifically for this race, I started training about 6 months ago. And I trained with FTP, with Andrew Dollar. And awesome group camaraderie really helped me, along with my kids. So it was pretty much every day, not as much during the week, and it added as we got closer to the race, the training got longer and longer.
Explain maybe, let's say, 2 months before, and your training every day was, tell everybody that doesn't understand, what are you doing? Like swimming 400 yards or biking, or give us a little example of a typical week.
Probably a typical week was I was swimming about 3 times a week, and usually for about an hour each time. And then I biked 3 times a week, and depending on the week, 2 of those times were relatively short, maybe an hour to an hour and a half, and the Saturdays just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and hillier.
Longer
and they, because I'm slow, my training a lot of times when we got up to the 100 miles was probably about 8 hours of bike riding on probably 4 Saturdays. But it was fun. I really liked to swim and bike and the running. I didn't do as much running. Probably the longest run I did was 2.5 hours.
And were you told to go like 2.5 hours rather than go 10 miles? It was more a time frame rather than the mileage, or?
On the run, it was almost always time.
Okay.
He would tell me a time to run. On the bike, it was more often miles.
Okay.
So I had to get better and faster at all those miles. So.
On the bike.
Yeah.
And then swimming, it was?
It was usually yards, meters.
And then you had a set, was it weekly that it would be mapped out? This is what you're supposed to do by your trainer?
Yes.
Andrew Dollar is also my trainer?
Yes. It was. I would get a calendar. It usually was 2 weeks at a time. And it would tell me what to do. And I would do it.
You would do it. And I know the other show we just did with 2 other triathletes, they were doing zones and using a heart rate monitor. Do you also use that?
I learned that towards the end of my training.
Okay.
And actually it was very effective. I probably should have got my heart rate monitor on a little sooner. I learned a lot in this training, which is good because I'm going to continue to train and do Ironman Chattanooga next year.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that you participated in the Ironman, and a lot of people don't understand that there's a certain cutoff when an Ironman, that at a certain point, if you aren't at X, that they regretfully say, well, you can't do any more. So I find it amazing that you had gotten so far, and then at a certain point, what did they tell you? And tell us about your Ironman experience.
It was an awesome experience. The swim was good. The bike took me a long time, about 8.5 hours. It was 116 miles.
Okay, and the swim was 2.5 miles.
It was 2.5 miles,
Okay.
and it took me an hour and 11 minutes, I believe.
That's
So
really
the swim
fast.
was awesome. It was downstream. The current definitely helped. I'm
Great.
not that fast, but I was on that day. So
Yes.
it was awesome. Set me up for the bike very well to have that extra time. Because I knew going in I was slow. I've just never been very fast at anything. So so the run, I made it through. I got to start the run, which was good. And I made it to the 13.1, the half marathon. And the gate was closed. They were very sweet. Actually, my sister told me, because they were waiting for me, and they said, that you've missed the cutoff. So I missed the cutoff.
So what does that mean? Because even me, and I understand the concept, but for the people out there, that means you have 26 miles to run. You ran 13 of it. You could have done more, but they say you can't run more. Is
Right.
that okay?
They set that up on the Ironman course, I guess, to prevent people from being there all day, all night, 2 days. Yeah. Like you do just have a certain amount of time to finish the race, which actually is one thing I really didn't realize when I signed up, that I was going to have to get a little faster.
Okay.
Because I knew I could finish.
Yeah.
You know, I've never not finished anything I've started.
Right.
I've always finished races, but I really didn't understand the time thing. Like I said, I learned a lot. I've not ever been an athlete.
I
so
think
You are
if 10
now.
years, 10 years, I think you are.
well, now
an
I do
athlete.
know how to monitor my heart rate, and I do know about zones. So I think I'm going to be in way better shape next year to finish that race
Was it a
in
shock
a more
to you
timely manner.
at the 13 mile when was it upsetting?
You know, it was, in some ways it was a relief, because I was pretty tired.
Right.
So my first feeling actually was relief, and I knew one of my sons had already finished because he was there waiting for me. It actually upset him way more than it did me. So I think I was just like, oh, well, it is what it is. You know, it's life.
Wow.
You know, I knew the cutoffs were there. I didn't realize that when I was going to miss, but you know, it is what it is.
What time of night was that?
You know what? I don't even know. My watch
about
had died, which was one of
10:45.
my problems. 10:45. My watch had died. My battery didn't hold out any longer than I did. So I didn't know what time it was. I was just putting away, not fast enough.
And was there a deadline of midnight or something, or?
You had to finish the race by 12:15, the entire thing. So I made it 131 miles. So I'm trying not to dwell on that other 13. I have, you know, beat myself up a bit over the last couple weeks. You know, the what
I've
ifs.
never
but
done an Ironman. You're great.
well, I'll finish next time. So.
So, how long did it take after you completed your 13 miles and then you went, okay, I'm going to sign up for the next year, which you did? How long did that take you?
Well, that was Sunday, and I didn't think I would be able to do Chattanooga because I thought it would sell out on Monday. But Tuesday morning, I signed up. When I found out it was still a possibility, my brother had called me right as I got taken off the course, and said, because they had been monitoring and watching us, and he said, so if you ever want to do it again, I'll do it with you. So I was like, oh, okay. So I called him Tuesday. I'm like, there's still openings for next year, because I thought I would have to do another race or wait another year, which Sunday I was okay with. But now I'm really excited that I get to just continue training.
Is he doing
Finish next. Yeah, my brother and Joe, my youngest son, we've all three have signed up for next year. So 2 of my sons finished this year, and the third one wasn't able to. He's a Marine and he was deployed, so he didn't get to do it. But hopefully next year he won't be deployed, and he signed up.
Is he signed up?
He signed up.
So when you sign up, do you have to pay your money?
Oh yes, I've already spent a lot of money on next year.
Well, that kind of makes you commit,
I know.
doesn't it?
Got my hotel and my race registration and a list of other things I'd like to buy. But I'm holding off.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yes. Wow. So, Belinda, you were at her race, and like me, I was a volunteer. But you were a volunteer, and tell us about the amazing volunteer work you were doing.
Well, at one point in my life, I was a certified massage therapist.
Okay.
And for 5 years, I had the national certification back in the 90s. And I used to go to races, do the race, and then offer massage after the race. So I had like a 4th event. And I'm not fast. I finish. I occasionally now, because I've been getting some training, place in my age group. I'm 53. And but back then I didn't, and it was great. And I got a lot of good clients that way, and I really enjoyed working on athletes. And so all my friends were going to the Ironman, and I've done over 100 Olympic length triathlons and don't plan on doing an Ironman. I'm holding out. They're all wanting me to do it. And because my goal is to do it till I'm 80. And I want to just do, the Olympics are still a 3-hour race. I mean, that's still a great exercise and great goals. Yeah, and that's what we'll see you at most of the time. And so I do Olympics and shorter. And that's what now I'm motivated though to do better since all my friends are doing all these. So I was like, well, if I'm going to stick to the Olympic, I better be like really good at it, you know. So I volunteered and I went online, and all this is so animated. When I first started, automated. When I first started triathlons,
31 years ago.
31 years ago, everything was handwritten. You would finish the finish line. The person would hand you a card and a pen. You would write down on this card your finish time and your name and your age, like you could write, and file it in your age group box. That's when I first started. So now everything is so, you know, we had an app that we all signed up for so that we could watch our friends by number as they finished different segments of the race. And it was like having your own little, you know, TV with just your friends. It was so interesting. So now everything is so technologically advanced. So I went online, and you can volunteer, and it's a fabulous experience. If you're any kind of an athlete, I really, really recommend it, because it's wonderful to be there in the energy of this huge festival of health. It really is. And
Festival of Health, that's a good way to say it.
yeah, because all these families are there, and it's exciting, and there's so much. You can imagine the energy of the athletes alone, much less the excitement of their families and everybody that was there. And so I volunteered to go and be a massage therapist. And so I went, and there's this big tent, and there's all these therapists ready to work on the athletes, and they come in a little salty and a little sweaty and very sore and very tired, and most of the time they kind of finish and walk around for a few minutes and head straight over to the massage tent.
Wow.
And so we got to care for them and talk to them, and I got to work on some of the winners and some of the elite athletes. And it was great. And so I volunteered to do that for 4 hours. And then my friends were started later and were coming in later. And so I then took my table over and set up and had our tent and worked on 4 or 5 of our friends that did the race. And so I was, you're welcome. And your son was so cute. He was so worried about you. He's like, I have to go. Mom should be coming now, you know. And he was really paying attention. It was great. And so I got to do that. So I kind of had an 8-hour shift of massaging, but not constant. And it was great. It was wonderful to be involved. And I had a blast. So I feel like, and I got to, other time I wore my shirt today from where I got to volunteer on the Big Island.
Kona.
The real mother,
the mothership of triathlons.
I was coincidentally in Hawaii during that triathlon, and had a fabulous 24-hour adventure that involved getting invited to the policeman's picnic at midnight and spending the night on a yacht deck and swimming with sea turtles the next morning before I walked. It was a great experience.
That's amazing.
So, you know, these events are just a special thing and so fun. And if anybody's been to the big marathon here in Nashville, the energy is just is intoxicating. It's fun to be around that. And this is like that. It was just fun to be there and to help out, and it was great. And so you get to experience it.
I just wondered, because we have a little time left, Deanna, your story is very inspirational. Even though you didn't, quote, finish, you changed your life. Your body has changed. Haven't you, like, lost 30 pounds just doing the training, and it just kind of came off, right?
Well, it never just comes off me. I wish I could say, and I've lost that same 30 a few times, but yes, I'm going to keep it off this time. It was, but I definitely am eating so much healthier. And because I want to, I mean, it's not a deprivation type of thing. It's when you're training that much, your body just really needs that healthy food.
What did you change your diet to with training for an Ironman?
More real food rather than processed food.
Not fast food?
No, not fast food. I let go of my Diet Coke for the most part.
You were drinking a lot of Diet Coke.
I drank so much Diet Coke, I don't even want to tell you. But I've pretty much phased that out. I drink a lot of water. I still don't drink calories because I'm very picky about what I waste calories on. But just more healthy. You know, I eat protein at every meal. That's one thing I definitely learned, is that protein has helped me to be healthier.
And protein, like, do you have a piece of chicken or tuna?
I do. I eat chicken. I eat tuna.
And do you have any advice out there for other moms that are sitting there? They might be 40, they might be 50 years old, and they're going, gee, I'd like to try that, but I don't know. Maybe
Do it. Yeah, do it.
It's
I used to
fun.
swim during my kids' swim practice, which, you know, like, and I'd walk around parking lots. I mean, baseball, I would take them to baseball, and you have to be there, you know, before the game starts. So I'd be out there, you know, around the parking lot. So you can do both. Being a mom is my #1 priority, always has been, always will be. But I think as a mom, we have to take care of ourselves also. Just got to fit it in there and find a way. So they can do it.
Yes. And Belinda, do you have any advice for the people out there that, I mean, you doing it 31 years, now somebody's listening, what do you tell them to do?
Well, show up. Just sign up for one and figure it out on your way, because without signing up, I'd be a couch potato too. And I sign up, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to do this now. And then I tell my friends, and then they're doing it, and that sense of community keeps me committed, and I'm going to show up. And so sign up and drink a lot of water. We don't drink enough water. And so I've always got a bottle of water with me, and just the health I have because of doing this long is gonna, I think, any financial investment we make now will more than make up for itself when we're in our 60s and our 70s, because we will be healthy and we will enjoy that second half of our life, because we can go dancing and we can do the yard work, and just the practical aspect of having this level of health. It's just hard to describe how good it is, how much time it saves me, how I can deal with stress, and can't say enough. And short sprints are only an hour long. You can do that much exercise, and there's several in this community. And so ask Becky, she'll know how to sign you up.
Right. If you just let us know if you want to do a triathlon, you can just let us know on our website, and we'll be happy to tell you the different steps and different ways to do it. You can start the itty bitty mini way, a little swim, a little bike, a little run, and then bit by bit add to it. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I know that as I get older, I'm actually it's kind of a joke, in first place a lot, just because there's so few in my age group. So I need more competition out there. I need more people to get out there, to be over 60 and give it a try. And it's really fun. And it actually, to me, it gives you energy. It doesn't deplete you. It makes you have more energy. Don't you feel that?
Definitely.
Yes.
And that doesn't seem logical. Go wear yourself out and you'll have energy, but that's the way it works.
Right, right. And just you feel proud of yourself because there's a discipline and all that. And you can get out books, go to the library, find a trainer, some of the Ys. YMCAs will be helpful in helping you train on that. So it's pretty amazing. Well, I want to thank both of you, wonderful triathletes. Thank you for your advice, your wisdom. Wish you well in the next season. And transitions, body, mind, spirit. Thank you.